Imagine waking up to an unnatural silence. You walk out onto your farm, and what you find is a scene of quiet carnage. Your livestock, goats, sheep, even dogs, are all dead, but they haven't been torn apart or even eaten. They've been drained, emptied of every single drop of blood, as if by a phantom surgeon. This is the disturbing calling card of a monster that was born in a single year, only to terrorize an entire hemisphere. This is the Chupacabra, and its story isn't just about a strange creature. It's a tale of pure modern terror. The panic ignited in 1995 in Puerto Rico, and the initial wave of attacks was unlike anything anyone had ever witnessed. The victims were discovered with 3 distinct puncture wounds, usually on the chest or neck. A signature that immediately brought to mind the vampires of old legends. This wasn't the work of a wolf or a coyote. This was targeted, surgical devastation. Within that first year alone, over 1,000 animals were reportedly killed, leaving farmers in a state of shock and fear. But what was causing this? The first terrifying description that gripped the world came from an eyewitness named Madeline Tolentino. She claimed to have seen an alien-like bipedal beast standing 4 to 5 feet tall. It had enormous, glowing red eyes and a row of sharp, menacing spines running down its back. This was the original goat-sucker, the Chupacabra, a creature that seemed to defy every law of nature and whose legend of terror spread faster than any news bulletin could keep up with. And this is where the psychological horror of the story truly begins. As investigators looked deeper, they noticed a chilling resemblance between Madeline Tolentino's description and an alien creature from the sci-fi horror film Species, which had been released that very same year. So the question arose, did a Hollywood movie accidentally create a real-life monster? It's a fascinating and unsettling case of cultural contagion, where reality and fiction blurred into a single, terrifying entity that seemed to hop, or perhaps even fly, from Puerto Rico across the rest of Latin America. But make no mistake, while its origin might be debated, the terror it caused was undeniably real. In communities across Mexico, El Salvador, Chile, and beyond, farmers were losing their livelihoods to this unseen, almost supernatural threat. This initial reptilian Chupacabra became the new Latin American boogeyman, a source of primal fear that transcended language and borders, uniting millions in a shared nightmare. Then, just as the sightings of the reptilian beast began to fade in the early 2000s, a new and arguably more terrifying monster took its place. This new wave of terror migrated north into the dusty, rural landscapes of Texas and the American Southwest. This creature wasn't alien. It was canine. Eyewitnesses described a hairless, aggressive, dog-like beast with heavy bones and a gaunt, hideous appearance. It moved with a strange gait and radiated an aura of sickness and aggression. This was phase 2 of the Chupacabra phenomenon. The science behind this second monster is in its own way just as unsettling. DNA testing on the carcasses of these creatures eventually proved that they were, in fact, coyotes or domestic dogs, but they were suffering from an extreme, debilitating case of sarcoptic mange. This parasitic infection strips the animal of its fur, thickens its skin, and gives it that monstrous, almost prehistoric look. The constant suffering and starvation can drive these animals to become unusually bold and desperate, attacking easy prey like livestock, which they are normally too weak to hunt. It's a real animal, twisted by disease into a living nightmare. So, while the two-legged alien monster may have been a product of collective imagination, this four-legged, mutated predator was very real. And for the farmers who found Tamanda livestock drained and bearing puncture wounds, the horror was all too authentic. The terrifying truth of the Chupacabra is that the fear it generates is often more powerful than mobile. Whether it was a monster influenced by Hollywood or a real animal driven to madness by a parasite, the Chupacabra remains a terrifying, unsolved mystery in the minds of millions. It has become a powerful symbol for everything that is unseen and unknown, lurking just beyond the light of our campfires. A true monster of the modern age. Now, we want to know what you think. Which version of the Chupacabra do you find scarier? The bipedal, reptilian alien from Puerto Rico, or the hairless, mange-ridden canine predator of Texas? Have you heard any Chupacabra stories in your local area? Let us know all your theories and personal encounters down in the comments. The Chupacabra reminds us that sometimes the most unsettling fears are the ones we create ourselves, born from a mix of the unknown and the misunderstood. If you're as fascinated by cryptids, true crime, and unexplained phenomena as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next investigation. Thank you for watching.